Pinas na nga ang Tropical Cyclone Warning Signal number 3 po.
Tiyanig ng magnitude 6.9 na lindol ang bahagi ng Mindanao ngayong hapon.
Igan, alert level 3 pa rin ngayon ang Bulkang Taal. Muli kasi ito nag-alburuto kaninang hapon na
Sa Oriental Mindoro, stranded sa mga bubunga ng maraming residente.
Disaster is an event, natural or man-made hazard, resulting to a physical damage or destruction, loss of life, or drastic change to the natural environment. Here are some of the disasters that common experienced by the Filipinos. There are earthquake, volcanic eruption, tsunami, flood, landslide, and a tropical cyclone or the typhoon. Here are some of the general effects of disaster: loss of life, injury, damage or destruction of property, disruption of production, loss of livelihood, and many more that became more serious because of the lack of preparedness.
Disaster preparedness, these are measures which enable government agencies, organizations, communities, and individuals to respond rapidly to the disaster situations.
What are the general disaster countermeasures? 1. Development of possible warning indicators. 2. Land use regulations. 3. Building regulations. 4. Relocation of communities. 5. Public awareness and education programs. 6. Evacuation plans and arrangements. 7. Fire prevention regulations. 8. International cooperation in information and technology sharing.
Disaster management is a discipline that involves preparing, warning, supporting, and rebuilding societies when natural and man-made disasters occur. It is a continuous process in an effort to avoid or minimize the impact of disaster resulting from hazards. What are the components of the disaster management cycle? 1. Response includes actions taken to save lives, prevent damage to property, and preserve the environment during emergencies or disasters. 2. Recovery includes actions that assist the community to return to a sense of normalcy after a disaster. 3. Mitigation, an activity that reduces either the chance of a hazard taking place or a hazard turning into a disaster. 4. Risk reduction, anticipatory measures, and actions that seek to avoid future risks as a result of a disaster. 5. Prevention, avoiding a disaster at the 11th hour, includes activities which actually eliminate or reduce the probability of disaster occurrence or reduce the effects of an avoidable disaster. 6. Preparedness, plans made to save lives of property and help response and rescue service operations.
Common problems in disaster management. 1. Lack of appreciation for the disaster preparedness by local officials themselves. 2. Lack of a strong and effective disaster coordinating council installed in the LGU. 3. Absence of disaster preparedness management plan. 4. Lack of effective linkage for disaster operations. 5. Absence of functional disaster operation center. 6. Erroneous disaster reporting and monitoring.
Environment, the complex of physical, chemical, and biotic factors that act upon an organism or ecological community and ultimately determine its form and survival. Waste management is an important element of environmental protection. Its purpose is to provide hygienic, efficient, and economic solid waste storage, collection, transportation, and treatment or disposal of waste without polluting the atmosphere, soil, or water system. Responsible waste management hierarchy. Reduce, generating less waste in everyday life. Reuse, repairing or reconditioning devices or parts for reuse. Recycling, turning materials into a new substance or product. Recovery, recover energy when you can't recycle. Disposal, dispose in landfill when no alternative.
Republic Act Number 9275, also known as Philippine Water Act of 2004. According to the Act, the state shall pursue a policy of economic growth is a manner consistent with the protection, preservation, and revival of the quality of our fresh, brackish, and marine waters.
Here are 10 that shall be the policy of the state. To streamline processes and procedures in the prevention, control, and abatement of pollution of the country's water resources. B. To promote environmental strategies, use of appropriate economic instruments, and of control mechanisms for the protection of water resources. To formulate a holistic national program of quality management that recognizes that quality management issues cannot be separated from concerns about water sources and ecological protection, water supply, public health, and quality of life. To formulate an integrated water quality management framework through proper delegation and effect coordination of functions and activities. To promote commercial and industrial processes and products that are environment friendly and energy efficient. To encourage cooperation and self-regulation among citizens and industries through the application of incentives and market-based instruments, and to promote the role of private industrial enterprises in shaping its regulatory profile within the acceptable boundaries of public health and environment. To provide a comprehensive management program for water pollution focusing on pollution prevention. To promote public information and education, and to encourage the participation of an informed and active public in water quality management and monitoring. To formulate and enforce a system of accountability for short and long-term adverse environmental impact of a project, program, or activity. And lastly, to encourage civil society and other sectors, particularly labor, the academe, and business, undertaking environment-related activities in their effort to recognize, educate, and motivate the people in addressing pertinent environmental issues and problems at the local and national levels.